Yo guys, this is Reinhardt and this video is gonna be about Poly Hunter DK, known as PHD or PHDk, but let's drop a DK and just say PHD because come up with a druid called the Jungle Clave. I know it sounds retarded, so get the fuck away. PHD is the DKs. The reason why the comp is actually can be very successful or perceived as successful because it provides a lot of pressure, it has a lot of CC and a decent amount of control. If we take for example RLS, the only reason why RLS is successful is because amazing synergy between a shaman and a lag. Well, on a PhD is actually the opposite. It all depends on how good is the synergy gonna be between a DK and the hunter, 2 DPS instead of a DPS and a healer. You guys know that my instructional video is taking a lot of time? Well, this one is gonna be. I'm gonna put a lot of effort into this video. So let's get started. Let's start with the DK. And what's your job in PhD? As a DK, you have to do damage, and more damage. I played both Ret Hunter DK and I played the traditional PhD, which is Holy Paladin DK Hunter, and 95% of the time I was the top damage, and you have to be as well. Doesn't matter if you're Frost Run Holy, you still have to pull out a lot of numbers. The second one is you have to survive a lot, and I'm gonna be talking about each of the bullet points separately. But yeah, survivability, DKs are getting trained all the time down to the ground. As PhD without a triple DPS, your survivability is gonna be very limited. You, sir, are gonna be trained 90% of the times. Third one is actually the pills. How well can you peel for your hunter when he is getting attacked? Keep in mind, melee cleaves are gonna be training you, but sometimes they're gonna be doing hard swap to a hunter. Rogues would want to stick their daggers in the hunter's ass just so they could mitigate damage, and it's your job will be to set up a really good chain of ice on the rogue so you could actually peel pretty well. And from your paladin as well, sometimes when you're fighting RMP and then decided to go really hard on your paladin. And last and fourth but not least is setups. The reason why PhD was very good comp and probably the best comp for a DK in season 8 was simply because a DK could set up the kills for the hunter. Well, this actually is not an exceptional season, you still have to do the same thing. The reason why it was a lot stronger is because Chain of Ice was a 90% root and it was downscaling and we don't have it anymore, but still you'll have to come up with something very good in order to actually be able to set up the kills. For example, gripping into a pet root into a pet stand for 6 second undeniable pressure. The hunter will put out a massive amount of damage during that time while he's also CCing the target. So let's get into the body of the whole comp. Okay, so about the damage on a DK, sometimes necrotics are equal to scourge strikes, and the reason why I'm saying it is because I got roughly about 5 killing blows out of like 7 on the warlocks on my DK fighting against RLS, and the way I did it is actually we CC'd the shaman into a full scatter shot slash freezing trap, and Lack would actually land aside my hunter and he would be down to like 30k HP, and instead of necrotic stacking I would just do a massive amount of scourge strikes because I want to kill my target while the healer CC'd. You see, in order to put out the pressure, necrotic strikes are definitely better than scourge strikes, but necrotic strikes are not gonna kill the target, they are for extra pressure. So when you actually CC the healer, it is good sometimes to just go nuts with those freaking scourge strikes. The second is you don't need a disease damage because you're not gonna be pestilencing a lot because hunter will be doing a lot of CCs, so no diseases. And third one, and the most important one, is don't freaking put diseases on the healer unless it's a hard swap or unless it's a necessity. Sometimes, occasionally, very rarely is I would chain of ice the priest when I see him running towards my paladin to get the fear off, but that happens very rare. Your job is to kill a target and do your damage, so be grateful and let the hunter do his job and CC the targets. The second point is survivability. Well, first of all, what's specific to the comp is get your sacrifices, get your freedoms from the hunter. When RMP opens up on the DK or even the paladin, hunter has to do his job and give a sacrifice to either DK or to actually paladin. The second is Hunter can succeed defensively. Especially the good example of it would be actually silencing shot on a mage or a lag when they're trying to CC your healer. That works really good. If you're getting tunneled by RMP, for example, and the mage is trying to polymorph a healer, your hunter will have to get that polymorph. I know, I understand that he might actually get some, so to say, less CCs on a healer, but overall, if you're dying and if you're dead, you're not gonna win anyway, right? The third one is, okay, let's be mature about it. Coordinate with your healer, okay? If you have a healer that is crickets. Yeah, if you have the healer who actually doesn't communicate anything, especially when he gets CC'd, please drop him and get somebody else. And do not message me saying that your healer sucks, okay? If your healer sucks, it's your job to replace him, okay? Or to actually educate your healer and tell him how he can do better, if you really want to stick with him. Either or works fine, but remember, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results. So if your healer is not communicating, either replace the healer or tell him to communicate, because you will need to know when to pop the defensive cooldowns in order to survive when your healer is getting controlled. The third point that I'm talking about is actually pills. Chain of Ice. Okay, I'm using macros. Cast Chain of Ice at arena player 1, 2, 3. The reason why I'm doing it is because when my hunter is getting trained by a rogue, you need to put that Chain of Ice on the rogue so your hunter can kite better and live happier. The same thing happens for you actually paladin. Chain of Ice is amazing utility, especially for PHDk because it provides a temporarily root effect. The second one is Pet Stun and Pet Root. It's actually amazing for Unholy, because let's face it, if your paladin is in a smoke bomb and RMP is opening up on him and rogue is dancing, that Pet Stun will probably save about 50k HP to your paladin, because 3 seconds worth of Shadow Dance is at least 50k damage. The third one is AMZ Hungry and Cold Strangulate. Yes, those are CDs that can be popped, so to say, offensively, especially Strangulate, but they also can be popped defensively. Let's put it this way. Your hunter has full dots on him and he is a turn sync. It's not gonna save him from dots, so what you have to do is you have to pop AMZ on top of your hunter. Same thing goes for your paladin if they're actually getting trained by a mage, shadow priest, or other huge wizard cliffs. And when it comes to Strangulate, well, we fought a double mage priest at one time, and they basically got my paladin to like 8k HP, and they couldn't kill him because I actually put a Strangulate on a mage. Simply put, what those two mages did is they just popped the deep freeze and started ice stun spamming, so we couldn't interrupt. So my hunter silencing shot one mage and I Strangulate the other one. My party lived just enough so we could actually kill one mage, and then after that a lot of pressure was relieved and we actually won the game. Okay, the last but not least, setups, and this is where actually you have to work on the synergy with your hunter. Let's first of all, Chain of Ice. If you have a rooted target or if you have a snare target, the hunter can unleash on it. Your job is to actually let the hunter do a lot of damage. The second one is Pet Stun and Root, Pet Root or Chain of Ice Root. Those are amazing, make sure you're using them to let the hunter do a lot of damage. But this is not all. What we actually found out works really well for us is grips into CCs. Now I'm talking about focus grip on the healer into a scatter shot, into a freezing trap. The reason why you need to do that is because sometimes healers are just butt hugging pillars and the hunters cannot get in there without getting at a risk for the hard swap. You still have to be standing there in the middle and taking damage like a fucking pro. So with that said, your hunter won't be able to just run around the pillar to get a lucky CC on the healer. So if he's in the range of grip, make sure you're gripping him so the hunter can actually come in with a scatter shot, freezing trap for extra added pressure. So in that case, your your death grip will be actually resulting in a good 11 to 12 second CC. Okay, now let's talk about the specifics of the comp and then finishing up with the matches, guys. I know the video is very long, but I hope it's actually very useful for you. Okay, so versus RMP, the first thing what you need to do is you actually have to peel off. RMP has a stronger cooldown than any other comp, so if you think that you can out-mongle them early in the beginning, yes, you might be able to out-mongle 1200 or 1500 RMP, but against a 2k plus, if you think that you can blow out all UCCs or UCDs in the beginning and get a kill, you are sadly mistaken. Maybe it will happen, rarely, 99% of the time it won't. So, Peel, off the DK because he's a primarily trained target, and the Paladin. Hunter has to give a Sax, Chain of Ice, Silencing Shot on the mage when he's trying to shatter. For the first 30 to 40 seconds you're most likely gonna be playing hybrid defensive and offensive. And for the second already part of the match, you have to get a kill. Mage is the best kill target for RMP, simply put because hunters eat through mages alive. But on the other hand, you can also kill a priest with a good hard swap. In this case, Strangulate would be acted more as a finishing tool and a clutch tool in terms of clutch CC, rather than just putting it in the beginning to get the pressure. HOJ is a must if you're doing a hard swap to a priest at the same time. Priest will most likely gonna trinket one of the CCs provided by Hunter, and this is where you can actually do a hard swap to him with the HOJ, Strangulate, Silencing Shot, and during that time he is gonna go down, even if the mage or rogue trying to peel. In general, when you're fighting against Holy Paladins, you have to first of all understand that the Strangulate is gonna be a CC. What I usually do is I Strangulate the Paladin right off the bat, and about a second and a half for the Strangulate left, I'm focusing Death Gripping him into a full scatter and a trap. Do not let the sacrifice get off before the trinket. Let him actually trinket the shit first and then put a sacrifice. This way his sacrifice more would be like defensive cooldown rather than, hey, let me get off the CC so I can top off my pressure so my team can actually go provide a lot of counter pressure on you guys. Trunk shots are a must. Trunk shot the shit out of the Paladin when he pops his freaking sacrifice, and also trunk shot the DPS when he is using BOP on it. Make sure guys that versus Holy Paladins 95% of the time the kill target will be a DPS, because A, Holy Paladins are susceptible to CCs, B, they can sprint out while the two people are peeling it, and they can line aside hunters via sprint and freedom pretty easy. So you guys gonna have to kill a Paladin, gonna have to kill a damage dealer versus Holy Paladins. Lastly but not least, against the Rebels or Shamans, 90% of the time, or maybe 85% of the time, you can still have to kill a DPS. Against RLS, train the luck, don't let him cast anything. Against anything that Shaman tries to put out there, or maybe MLS, train the Mage, maybe swap to a luck at some point in time. But guys, keep in mind that against Rest of Shamans, they're pretty durable, especially when the luck and the rogue, which most likely gonna be running RLS peeling for them. So in that case, Strangulate can be hybrid, but most of the time it is a CC. Chain of Ice or coils have to eat the grounding totems in order for your hunter to put good traps out there. And last but not least, Shamans can be swapped to. If there's a Spearing Leg totem is down and the Shaman is down to like 60-50% HP, and because of your pressure, go ahead and swap and kill the rest of Shaman. You guys probably can do it easily. By the time that they're using SLT, Spirit Link Totem, their Nature Swiftness and their trinkets are most likely gonna be down, because those are two the CDs that they usually like to pop. They like to save Spirit Link Totem till the very end. So swap during the SLT. Alright, well, enough of the nerd analyzing and shit, and look at actually some matches on commentary. And guys, next week, I'm gonna actually do something very sneaky at the very end of this movie. And next week I am gonna make a guide and you guys will be able to choose, and you guys will hear about this more in details. Stay tuned. First one is gonna be against the RMP, so let's take some theory crafting in order here. So of course they're both invis, they're both stealth, so my hunter is gonna flare and I'm gonna D&D, and we got one of them. We got a rogue out, he was forced to vanish. I put a Chain of Ice and I'm actually starting here on the priest, simply put because the mage is still invis. We got a first silencing shot on the mage and we're gonna be swapping to a mage. I have about 11 to 10 seconds left on my disease here, but that's fine. We're right now actually doing a lot more peeling than actually damaging. And we're putting a massive amount of damage on this mage, and he actually was forced to block. And we're doing hard swap to a priest, and I'm using my Strangulate as actually a finishing move, and I'm strangulating him for 7 seconds, and we are killing both priest and the mage almost at the same time. This is actually pretty easy for us because they talent too hard on the H poly. Okay, versus the second one fighting against RFMP. They have a bit more, actually they have a lot more control on the healer than the rogues, but they have no smoke bombs, which kind of helps us in return as well. So let's get started. We got into combat, and the mage is opening up on my hunter, and I'm actually getting on the mage right over here, and he puts a ring of frost here, and the feral is training my hunter like there's no tomorrow, and the mage is line of sighting some of the damage, because hunters do eat mages alive. It's mostly the hunter's damage here, and some of my necrotics here as well, actually. Not necrotics, I'm sorry, scourge strikes. I'm using a lot of scourge strikes on the mage here. Now, their priest actually is out there casting right now, and he could be a good target for swapping, but we need to peel right now at this moment, and my hunter went back so he could actually line of sight, and I got Cyclone. Now I'm out here on the mage, I'm popping Gargoyle, and we need to get the block up, so to mitigate some of the control that they have. At this point in time, I'm yelling out to actually swap on the priest, because priest is tunneling. As you see, he's tunneling a fear on my paladin, and I'm gripping him back. And right now, we're actually putting a decent amount of pressure on this priest, and I'm AMSing here offensively. I have a Rune of Fallen Crusader proc, and I stacked about 35k necrotics over here. And basically from that, priest is going down like a freaking cracker. The thing is, guys, priest can be good hard swap targets, and I'm talking the gladiator level priest, or actually even 2400 level priest, they won't tunnel vision the CC like that they usually do right here. But of course, for the priests that like to tunnel vision their fears, they'll get shit on. So here we're fighting against triple DPS. The first kill target is gonna be a red paladin here. I got sapped over here, and they're gonna try to tunnel vision a lot of damage onto our H poly. Rogue is opening up on him, and the paladin is getting there, and he's dispelling his snares, but I still gripped him back. I'm trying to pet stun him here, and he actually parried my pet stun. He still have the wings and trinkets, so they are doing massive amount of damage, but we actually managed to get their red paladin first to bubble. That's actually a very good news, because whoever bubbles first usually loses the match, even against the red paladin versus holy paladin. I got this mantle here, and I'm trinketing it. Now I'm popping MS, and I'm trying to waddle over the red paladin and actually finish him off. I'm gripping him back, and I got that kill over here. The thing that I think I actually did some wrong here is I should have saved my frenzy, and I should have trinketed that disarm and put instantly frenzied myself in case I would have gotten blind, because that's what probably the best triple DPS would try to make a setup kill. But of course, because their paladin was line of sighting the pillar, we actually managed to pull off a very good kill out here. Now they killed our holy paladin, and they're training me here. And right now it's basically gonna be who's gonna survive the most here in order to get a kill. Basically what we did here is my hunter trained the hunter, and I trained the hunter as well. I gripped him and did a couple of scourge strikes, and I tried to survive as much as possible and actually line of sight the rogue too here. So basically what I did here is about enough time for to kill the other hunter, and for my hunter to get a good kill on a rogue after their hunter is dead, because hunters counter rogues. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this video very helpful. I am proud, or making myself proud, of getting people to their 2.2k ratings. And actually pass on that. A lot of people actually messaged me and they said, hey dude, we actually pushed a hero, I pushed a duelist, two people pushed a gladiator. And I'm actually very excited about it. And with this, I want to actually end up on one note here. And the note is the following: YouTube is a great tool. YouTube belongs to people. My channel doesn't belong to me. It belongs to everybody. It belongs to you just as much as it belongs to me. You are my auditory, and you are watching my videos. So you are actually the ones who are in charge whether you should watch it or not, whether the video should be successful or not. So with that said, I'm actually gonna be doing the following. Each week on Mondays, I'm gonna be releasing good instructional videos for you guys, and I'll have you guys decide who are those videos are gonna be like, and I'm gonna be announcing their names and their decisions. The way I'm gonna make it is the video that got the most amount of most amount of thumbs up for the request for the video will be probably featured as a next video guide that I'm gonna put. Simply put, for example, one person wants to make a guide on, let's say, well, make a guide for a Shadowcliff Reinhardt, and I will make that guide myself. I cannot guarantee that a person is gonna play the comp, simply put because it depends if I'll find the players to play with or not, or whether I'm gonna be trying to push for high ratings or not. But let's say the guy wants to play wants me to show Shadowcliff, and let's go further a little bit, and let's say there are 10 more people who wanna watch Shadowcliff as well. So they're gonna do a 10 thumbs to that, and guess what? I am gonna make an instructional video about the Shadowcliff next week. So you guys are my auditor, and you will actually guys have a power of which instructional next video you guys would want to watch. But one thing though, if you're freaking retarded and you're asking me, Vladimir, why don't you actually make the video showing your penis or something, or being naked, and that video gonna get a lot of thumbs up, guess what? That's not gonna happen. So let's keep it professional, guys. Another thing is, guys, if you find my videos helpful, please favorite them. If you like this video, please like this video, guys. And if it's not gonna be hard for you, share this and bring your friends and whoever arena partners so they could watch more videos. Please check out my introduction to PhD video with a call out to a thruster. Thank you guys for watching this video, and до свидания.